Hello everybody and welcome along to my YouTube dashboard course. My name's Marcus Small and I own a website called thesmallman.com. Alrighty, let's get into what we're going to do today. So basically this is the final output. This tracks the COVID-19 crisis in numbers. So basically it's a parody from the Johns Hopkins University website. So if you haven't seen it, it's a great resource. But I've taken that data and I've actually added a little bit of more information to it with the help of Excel and Power Query. So we are going to go through, build the Power Query application that actually allows us to refresh the model. We'll go in and create some pivot tables off the back of that. We'll then create some formula that taps the information in those pivot tables. We'll create all of these charts down here. We'll create the functionality that allows the dashboard to do things like this and to drill down into the countries and then to drill down into the three metrics that we have over here, one by one. Yeah. So it's a highly detailed model, but the end product is very, very worthwhile if you've got the time to come on the journey with me. So looking forward to it and hope you are too. All right, let's go. So this is the model you should be starting with. Yeah, so we will populate, it doesn't look as great, does it? We will populate this model. Now, the raw data that we will use to populate it is quite easy to get our hands on. So basically what I want us to do is do that first. So we'll get the raw data off the internet. Yeah. So we've got to pluck it. If you go to the list sheet and then go over to the left, we've got to pluck it out of a range. Yeah. And the range is in here. Yeah. So we've got our URLs and we want to pull that information from this GitHub website. So there's information on GitHub. Let's have a look at what that might look like. So we'll cut it, paste it into a browser, and then that's the website. So that's basically what we've got to pull into Excel. Excel will analyze it and say it's a flat file and we think it should look like this. Yeah. So we'll make some changes to it and then extract the data into Excel, but we'll extract all three reports. Yeah. I'll go back into Excel and these are the three reports. So we've got confirmed, deaths and recovery. Now the first thing to know about this little table that we've got is its name. So we'll go into the design mode and I've called it GitHub. Yeah, GitHub. All right, that's important because we're going to need that for our parameter. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is to grab one of these URLs. The first one we'll do, we'll copy it. So it's copied. Now we'll go to the data menu. So go data. And we want to grab the information from web. So we choose from web. All right, thinks about it and then pops up this area here. And I want you to paste it in here. So paste the data. Good job. Now we just click OK. And so it goes away, grabs the information, says, well, look, Marcus, this is what we think it should look like. And I can see already, so column 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure why it wouldn't grab that information, but it's given us a tool for us to get rid of that quite easily. So we'll choose to transform the data. So we'll transform data. All right, just having to think about it. I'll just get rid of this. I don't want to refresh the data in any way, shape or form, but what I do want to do is use the first row as headers. And then what should have always been the headers becomes the headers, yeah? Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to turn this pivot table onto its head. I want it to be a tabular data set, yeah? Rather than having the dates pushing out sort of 100 columns, what I want to do is I want them to be a discrete line. So Afghanistan 3365, that date. Then Afghanistan 3365 and then that date, and so on and so forth, all the way down. So it's basically going to create a lot of rows and far less columns. Yeah. So we'll highlight the first column, hold the shift key, highlight long, so we've got all of the non-financial data columns highlighted. We'll right click on the header, so right click the header, unpivot other columns. And it basically turns it on its head just instantly. So the attribute is actually our date, and we're gonna leave that as value, yeah? But there's a problem here. It says ABC, whereas it should say a date, yeah? So we want to turn that into a specific date. So we right click the header and we'll say that we want to change the type, and we want to use local, the one at the bottom here. So right click the header, change type, use local. All right, so we click that, and it'll pop up with a sort of a menu that says, okay, what would you like to do? Well, I'd like to turn it into a date for starters. So the top menu becomes date. What date style do you want? Now, if you have a look at the data, it's in the American date system. So we'll choose English USA. Where is it? There it is there, English USA. Cool. And then it gives us a suggested format. We go, yeah, okay, cool. And we click OK. Now, it knows that I'm in Australia, so it's saying the 26th of January 2020, yeah? That's absolutely fine, yeah? If you're doing it in another part of the world, it might say in your date format, particularly if you're in the States, yeah? I'm going to have a side jab. This dating system was in place long before America was created. The rest of the world uses it. Anyway, so that's our effectively our data set all sorted. We've got basically the confirmed coming in. Now we want to sort of push it a little bit further so it actually picks up deaths and recovered, yeah, which is in our table called GitHub. So we choose Advanced Editor. Just take this up, Advanced Editor. And then in this menu, what we want to do is we want to put a couple of lines in. So just don't be too intimidated by the code. And we want to, in brackets, type git, G-I-T-H-U-B, yeah, GitHub, as a table, yeah, as a table, and then we say is equal to or greater than, yeah. And then I click down here, so after where it says web contents, and what I want to do is I want to repeat the process. So I want to type, well, I want to make reference to my table, which is GitHub. So don't go too far. You just got to stop before the last bracket there. And then we just type Git, GitHub. And there it pops up, yeah? All right, so GitHub's in there, which is all good. And then we'll just choose done. So once you've got that phrase, GitHub as table with GitHub in brackets is equal to or greater than, and then GitHub in there, we're all good. So we'll click done. And it says, do you want to run a parameter? Well, I don't at the moment. All I want to do is actually give this a name. So I'll say this is fx because it's a function, and then it's COVID. Yeah? All right, good stuff. So we'll save and close. So we'll close and load this data. fx COVID, yes? Sorry if I did that a little quick, fx COVID. And then close and load after you've got that written in. Close and load. And then it pushes the data into a connection, yeah? So fx COVID is in there, yeah? So it says connection only. You can see I've done it a few times. And what we'll do is we'll click inside the table and we'll go data, and then we'll go get data from table. And it goes into the back end of Power Query, isolate the URLs, and then we'll say we want to add a column. Yeah, and it is a custom column that we want, and then we'll give it a name. We'll just call it get data, yeah, or one word. Doesn't really matter what this is. You could call it Fred Flintstone. Doesn't matter, yeah. Just give it a meaningful name, yeah. And then it's the name of our function, so fx COVID, yeah, and then open a bracket, and it's the name of the URL now. So we just double click the URL. And we close our bracket. And that's that. So it's just the name of the function, the URL, or the name of the field that we have in our table, which is URLs, and that's it. So we click OK, and it will have a think about it. And it says, okay, we've got 3 tables, table 1, 2, and 3. What do you want to do with it? Now, we'll choose this guy here, and then I'll show you both methods. So if you use original table names and click OK, what it does is it puts the get data element at the start, and we don't want that. So we say, no, not interested in that. So we click the cross over there. Yeah, click the cross. I'll just do that again. So I did that a bit quick. So click that cross. So no, we don't want that. And then we click it again. This time we untick the box and we go OK. Untick the box, click OK. Might want to get rid of this column though. So we'll right click and we'll go remove. All right, good stuff. So that's effectively our query. Yeah, and better still, that's our 3 queries. Yeah, so basically now we want to push it back into Excel. So we go to the home menu and we close and load. And it should push the information into a fresh sheet. And there it is there. We might want to format the date. So I'll go on home. And I'll say I'd like that to be a short date. Good job. And effectively, if you click on the filters, we've got confirmed, death, and recovered. Perfect. All right. So, and what sort of quantum of data have we got? If we go to the bottom, well, we've got 82,000 rows because it's flicked all the days onto its head, and it's left us with the 3 tables displaying all of the information. Well, how would you go about refreshing it? If I just take some of the data out, yeah, and I press Control Alt F5, it has a think. There it is. Punches the data back. That took less than a second. So we've got a situation now where we can remove data and Control Alt F5 pushes that data back in. Yeah. So that's refreshing all 83,000 rows in the blink of an eye, basically. Yeah. So now we've got this raw data. We can tap this data for information. Yeah. So we can, what's it called? Let's have a look. Design GitHub _2. That's fine. That's fine for a table name. Yeah. I'm happy with that. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll create a stream of pivot tables. Yeah. So might give this table a meaningful name though. I'll call it raw. Raw data. And then we'll go insert, and then we'll choose pivot table. Just make sure your cursor's inside the table. So insert, pivot table. And we'll just put it on a new worksheet for the time being. We're going to have to put, where it says Piv1 and Piv2, we're going to put it there eventually, but we'll just choose a new worksheet. So that's fine. So we'll click OK. All right, good stuff. Now, what we want to do is choose from this menu over here. So firstly, I want to put the reports in the filter. So that's the confirmed, deaths, recovered. And then secondly, I want to put the date in the filter. So it should say reports, then date. And then thirdly, I want a country and then the value. Oh, I didn't click country and then value. All right, good stuff. Now, we'll use this as a bit of a template. Yeah, so make sure you've got like the same sort of setup, reports, date, country, sum of value. Yeah, so it's just click, 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 click. Yeah. And then what we'll do is we'll choose this so it's confirmed. Nice. That's confirmed. And then this one's the latest date. So the 5th of May, 2020. All right, good stuff. So it's got a single date, which has the consolidation of all of the information till now. And then the click on the row labels. And what we're going to do next is we're going to sort this in descending order. Yeah. So we'll say more sort options. We'll choose descending, and then we'll choose sum of value. Yeah. Might just do that again. So we click on this button here, more sort options, descending, and then sum of value. Yeah. So we click OK. And I'll just fix the formatting up because this is going to be our template. So we'll create that comma and then take the decimal places off. Great, that's awesome. So that's basically our confirmed table. So let's make a copy of that and let's drop that right there. Yeah, make sure there's a space. Yeah, and then drop another one there and make sure there's a space. So space in column C, space in column F, and drop it in J as well. All right, good stuff. Now, the first thing we can do is change confirmed to deaths and confirmed to recovered. So we should have 3, confirmed, deaths, and recovered. And then this one over here, this one, oh, the table list's gone. So show field, right click, show field list. Oh, we came back. Show field list. Okay, good stuff. All right, so what we want to do is move reports from here to here. Yeah, so now it has all confirmed, deaths, recovered. Right click the grand total. If I did that a little fast, we just want to move reports across. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, so right click grand total and then say remove grand total. All right, good stuff. Now I want this guy to be on the same sort of footing as the other one. So we'll control shift down arrow and then we want to bring this guy up. Yep. All right, so now they're all control home. We're all in the same place roughly. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4 pivot tables. All right. Now, what I want you to do is to copy those pivot tables, Control C. Actually, copy all of them. Copy all of them. Control C, and go to the pivot table sheet. Now, drop them in B1. Yeah, and paste. And the data for the last pivot table should be in K. If you dropped it in B1 and you left a gap, each time you'll get the same result as me. Yeah? All right. So we'll just go and tidy up our report. These can go now. Sheet 3 can go. Delete. Yeah, we don't need them anymore. This will save us heaps of time because I've got the sheet set up from here, Piv and Piv2. Okay? Now, the next thing we'll do is we're going to grab just these 3, yeah, copy them, and then we're going to go into Piv2 and we're going to paste them into B1. So paste, and the first thing I'd like you to do is to go back a week. So choose a date from the date menu to go back a week. What we're going to do is we're going to compare what the situation was globally a week ago. So I'll choose the 29th. And look, you can choose whatever date you've got in there. It's all good. And then the 29th. Yeah? All right, so that's given us the data plus 1 week removed. Now, if we're in the pivot sheet, we want to create 4 new columns out here. So it is active percent, recovered percent, actually that should be deaths percent, and then recovered percent. All right, so with those in place, I might just make these a little larger, a little bit larger again, I want the percent showing. All right, all good. So the active becomes the confirmed, less the deaths, less the recovered, yeah? So it is equals, and that is L5, so it's L5 minus M5 minus N5. L5 minus M5 minus N5. All right, good stuff. So if I do it like that, what I get is I don't get a reference to the pivot table, which I don't want, yeah? And then what I'll do next is the active percentage is going to be the active over the confirmed, yeah? So that is equal to the cell next door divided by the confirmed in L5. All right, good stuff. Now that'll give us a good result until we get down to there might be areas that don't have 0, so this is a problem here. So we might just trap that error, yeah? So, and then actually what I might do is L5 I might make absolute the column, yeah? And then I'll say if error, open bracket, and then just comma 0. All right, good stuff. So with any luck, we should be able to copy that across. We should get, oh, hang on, what have I done? Oh no, that needs to be the deaths percentage. Yep, good stuff. And then finally this one is the recovered percentage, and that should equal 100, yeah? So I might just do that again. It's this one and this one, and then this one and this one, yeah? And then that just makes logical sense that you get a tie up for 100, yeah? All right, so we can double click that, and then that's given us sort of a table that we didn't have access to inside of the pivot table. Well, why did you do it like that, Marcus? Why didn't you just create it in a pivot table? These aren't distinct columns inside of the data set anymore. They're all in the same area. So it's basically confirmed is on the same, for USA, is on the same line as deaths, is on the same line as recovered. It's all information in this particular area. If they were distinct, 3 distinct columns, it would have been easier to create a custom field inside the pivot table, but they're not, yeah? So it's much more complex. Anyway, that's reasonably simple, and it should stay reasonably static considering the amount of countries we've got, yeah? And we've got some subtotals. I'll just format this just for good form's sake, so it looks like the other one. Oh, what's going on? All right. There we go, and then I'll make that bold. Yeah. All right, good stuff. So we've now got our 3 pivot tables. This one says 1 week before. This one says, well, it's our primary confirmed deaths recovered, and then we've got a table that gives us our active cases, deaths and recovered. So we've got a whole heap of information in a very short amount of time. Yeah. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to tap these tables for information. So the next part is to go into the sheet called line. This is for the line charts that run across the bottom of the dashboard, yeah? They have a date. So let's have a look at what that looks like. So we've got, that's our country. We've got our country, we've got our row labels, which are actually our dates. And then we've got confirmed deaths recovered. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tap that raw table, yeah? So basically what we need is these 3 things. I'll just make them a different color. These are going to be the criteria that we want to put in. The country, the date, and then whether it's confirmed deaths or recovered, because we want to make a nice flexible formula that we can just drag across just nicely. So we'll just go have a look at our raw data sheet. So we need the data. Let me press Control. I'm at the top anyway. So we need this particular column. We need this one here. Oh, I'm just going to bring this down. And we also need this one here. Yeah. Actually, this one here, and we do need the value as well. Yeah. So once we've got the consolidation of the 3 criteria plus the value, we should be able to pull the information in. Now we're going to use the sum ifs formula. And we should just be able to use one formula for the confirmed deaths recovered. So in the line sheet, in cell D2, we'll type equals sum ifs. Open a bracket. And our sum range is in the raw data tab. So we click into the raw data tab, and then we'll click into the value because that's the column that's got all the information. Control Shift down arrow takes us to the bottom. And then we'll type a comma. All right, so now the fun and games begin. We've got to say, okay, well, what do we want? We'll start on the far left. So we'll click into the recovered cell, so A82321. Control Shift up arrow, Shift down arrow. Yeah, so now I've got confirmed from bottom to top, or bottom up to top, yeah? Now I type a comma, and I just need my criteria. So that was the confirmed reports. Now I don't want this to appear I don't want the sheet name to appear in my formula. I don't like that sort of stuff. So I'll take a guess of where it is, yeah, rather than go back into the other sheet. So I'll just guess and I'll say, oh, okay, A2. It's going to be wrong, but that's okay. So I'll just type A2 and then I'll press F4. Yes, it's wrong, but I just go over there. See how it changes color? So the first part's confirmed, so I just drag it over there, put it in D1, and then make the row absolute by pressing F4 once. All right, good stuff. So I type a comma. That's the first part of the equation. We've got the column for confirmed trapped, and then we've got the term confirmed trapped. Now we just got to do the country and the dates, and we're good, yeah? So I'll take note of where the country is. It's in B2. So we go into the raw tab, we go, okay, well, there's the country. Click into cell C2, Control Shift down arrow takes us to the bottom, and then we'll type a comma and we'll say B2 F4 3 times. That's good. That's got that part of the equation. Now the final part is to get the date, so we type a comma and we go and get the date, and we want to refer to C2 after we've got the date. So we go into the raw tab. This is the date, so I click into the bottom cell, Control Shift up arrow takes me to the very top, Shift down arrow takes me to the next cell, comma, C2 F4 3 times. All right, press enter, see how we go. All right, there's no information there, yeah, but it's filled it down. You start seeing some information coming in for Austria. So if we bring that across, see what the data says. That's cool, and that's cool. Yep, that's all good. So that's come across, and then we'll go in for recovered. Oh, it's interesting that that didn't go down. The others did. Anyway, I'll send it down. And recovered, is it picking the data up? Oop, something's gone a little awry. Now, in order to debug this, we'll just look at the two columns here. And yeah, look, tables don't work the same way as normal Excel. So what we'll do to get around that is we'll just copy this guy. There's going to be static tables. So I'll copy, notice I'll just copy that, escape, paste it into the next cell, and then just drag this guy across. And then that goes to all the cells. So if we go down, you can see the death starting to come in down the bottom. We'll do exactly the same thing here, copy, and we'll paste, and we'll just bring it across. All right, easily fixed. And then recovered starts to pop in, yeah? And then the active becomes confirmed less deaths, less recovered, yeah? So it's equals confirmed minus the deaths minus recovered. All right, good stuff. So that's gone down as well. Nice, okay. So once the data starts flying through, it's all good. So that's effectively the only time data set. That does have an effect on the model, but it's not significant, yeah? So, yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 columns by not much data. It only goes down 100 rows. So you're tapping the 80. Depends when you do this and how much and how long this crisis goes for. But yeah, it's not a big data table, but it does have all of the dates, yeah? So that can actually inform the next part of the equation, if you like. We could do some charting information. I think we might do that. We've worked enough with data. So we might grab some charts and then push that data onto the dashboard page, yeah? So these are the charts that run across the bottom. I think I've got the other model open. So let's have a look at the other model. So here it is. So we're going to push this date-based information into the model via those tables: confirmed, deaths, recovered, active, yeah? So that's what we're going to do now based on that little table that we've created. All right, so this is our raw data, and because this is already a table, this is looking at some of the information on the dashboard page. This is grabbing information out of our timing sheet, so where are we up to in terms of a date? And what we effectively want to do is we want to grab the dates and confirm. This can be our baseline, yeah? So let's just grab that information. So grab everything. And then we'll go insert, and we'll insert a line chart, yeah? So we'll insert just a line chart like that. Actually, we'll insert one of these ones. I forgot. This is what's on the COVID site. So we'll insert this one, a line with markers. All right, so confirm can come off. Yeah, I've already got a heading for it. All right, very good. Now, what I want to do is I might fix up the dates first. If you click on the dates, now remember this shortcut. Whatever you want to affect about a chart, so I might make this nice and big so you can see what's going on. Whatever you want to affect, you click on the element that you want to affect and you press Control 1. Yeah. Now this will allow us to change the tick mark. So we can change a whole heap, but we'll change the unit from 7 days to 30. So we'll change that to 30, and then that's had an effect on the dates that we see down the bottom. And then what I want to do is I want to change the nature of the way these dates look. Yeah. So I'll click on the data set. and I'll say I want this to be control 1, and then the number pops up, and then I'll change the date type. I might write a custom type, so I'll click on this first one here, choose custom, and then I'll go down to the bottom, and then I'll go, oh right, what we want to see here is, do I want to do day, day, month, month, month? I'll just check and have a look at what it looks like. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, okay. I think it's a little bit different to the other model, but it explains why May hasn't rolled out just yet. Yeah. All right, so that's nice. Now I'm going to try and make this just like the Johns Hopkins University model. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these lines, I'm going to make them dashed. So click on that element, control 1. Click on the lines. Now if you sort of butcher it, it kind of goes like that, but you've got to hit the line. All good, control 1. And then over here, I'll choose a dash type, choose one that kind of looks, yep, that kind of looks like what the Hopkins model looks like. And then I might click on these markers and then choose marker. And then I'll choose no line, yeah, because that's going to affect the other ones. It actually makes the marker larger when you take the line off. That's the line that goes around the outside of the marker. Yeah. All right. I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah. So I'll make this a little bit smaller. All right. I'll put it up here. This can be our template. Yeah. Now, actually, I want to make the background. See how this one's black? I want to make it black. So I'll control 1 while I've got my cursor on the outside. And then the fill, I'll go with a solid fill. And then, oh, those lines are nice and harsh now, so I want to make them lighter. So I'll click on the lines, and I don't need to press Control 1 if I've already got the format editor up onto the side here. So I'll just choose a lighter color. Actually, the darker the color, the less it stands out, which is great. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too bad. Okay, all right. That might be my template. Okay. So once I've got a template, once you've done one, you don't have to go through the same painful process for the other 3. You just copy the chart once it's all tickety-boo, copy it, go underneath, paste, and we'll just line these guys up. Now what we do is, this is the active chart, this one here. So we go from one chart with its own series repeated twice to 2 separate charts. So I just mosey on over here. This is the active chart, and when you hover over this line, you got the ability to click down on it when it goes dark blue, and you just drag. Now that's a completely separate chart, so I click on the series, or the series, and then I choose the color that's associated with deaths, and then the marker that's associated as well. So I choose the marker, the color will be red. Boom, done. So now we've got 2. Where there was 1, now there's 2. So we go through the same process, paste, drag it across, so drag this across, boom. And then this is recovered, so this color is green. So we choose green from the menu over here. And the marker, not red, but green. Bang, now we've got 3. And then finally, I don't have much real estate underneath, so I'll put it up here. All right, good stuff. Doesn't matter that we can't see all, or we can see all of it. We click on it, active becomes move, and move. All right, and then that color is yellow. So we'll choose this, well, it's sort of orange really. So we'll choose the orange, and then the marker needs to change as well. So you can see it gets a bit repetitive, but when you do it a lot, you get really, really quick at it, yeah? So I'm sort of, hopefully I'm going slow enough for you, but I'm sort of doing it at a speed that I wouldn't do it at in the field. I pretty much go like grease lightning, but you get faster at it the more you do it, yeah? All right, good stuff. So now we've got our 4 charts. So we'll basically take them into our dashboard, copy them, and then go into the dashboard page, and they're going to go down here. So we'll paste, Now they're a bit big, and I've left, see the white border? I think that's a bit harsh. So it's really easy to get rid. So you click on it once, Control 1, and then we'll say the border, no line. And then it's just a matter of clicking on each, no line, no line. You see what's important to get the first one right, and it saves you like 3 more times the effort, yeah? So that's all good. So that's been expunged. And you might like the line, you might want to leave it there, yeah? Now, these 2 charts, this one, the one for active, notice the colors repeat. It's a good idea when you're creating your dashboards to do stuff like that. So if you've got a color scheme, you stick with it. So these 2 guys are going to sit in here. They're going to sit in here, and they've got to be roughly the same size. So you can't tell that they're not exactly the same size. So just kind of line them up so they're a little bit apart, and then hold the Shift key, and then you can click both, yeah, and then we can make them come in, and then make them come down. And do you reckon that'll fit? No, I don't think so. Maybe a little bit less. Now they should be the same size, so we'll just move this one into place, and I've maybe gone a bit too far. Now I've made them too small, but it's just a trial and error process. So basically just go and try and make, yeah, that's looking a bit better. Yeah, we're getting close. So now just position them. You want to create sort of a little gap between there that kind of lines up with the top one, and then move this one across. We could probably make them a little bit bigger so they're a little bit far apart. It's a set and forget though. So you put all your time and effort in the first time, like to get this right, and then that's it. You don't have to do it any longer, yeah? So once you're happy with the way that it looks and feels, no more work to do, yeah? All right, good stuff. So once they're in place, that's all good. We want to do the same with these guys. Now, I don't have as much space for this one, so, and you can see, if I just go up, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get symmetry. So basically a chart that fits in to that sort of size, and one that fits into that sort of size, and they're roughly the same size. So the next one comes the green one, and then the yellow one. So we'll make these about half their size. Yeah, hopefully we'll get it about right first time. Yeah, we know that they're the same size. I've got to make them a bit smaller. So we do them together. Yeah, so that there is symmetry. Symmetry is important when you're creating dashboards. Yeah, the eye loves it. Okay, you can see I've made it a little bit too big. All right, make it a little bit smaller. And then that's good. You can see it's a bit fiddly, but it's worthwhile getting it right. Make that a bit bigger. This one can be a bit bigger. Now they're slightly different sizes, but it's okay. As long as it all lines up. And look, here's a trick. If you want to make sure all 4 are aligned, hold one, click on one, click, 2, hold the Shift key. I'll start again. Click, 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 and click, all 4. We're holding the Shift key. Click, 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 and click, and go page layout, align bottom. You see they move just slightly. Actually, these 2 are slightly different size, so I'll make them, just so you can't, there are steps you can take to make them exactly the same height and width, but that's not appropriate for these 4 because there's 2 the same size and there's another one just slightly lower. And it doesn't matter if they're not exactly the same size, they just got to look like they are, yeah, roughly. Yeah, so now our chart's starting, our dashboard's starting to come together, yeah? We've got all of our line charts, and now we can populate the upper part of the chart with the information that's in some of the other pages. Let's just move this up. You can see it all fits neatly into a single page. Okay, so the first thing that we'll do is we'll grab the information that we've already got. We've made the data, so we'll fill out the top line for these guys, and we'll make sure that it all populates. So if you put your cursor into this one over here, so the total confirmed, we've got a pivot table for it. So equals, and then we'll go into the piv sheet, and then come down to the bottom. You might be at the top, and then just come down to the bottom and click in this cell, yeah? And then press enter, and the data populates. We'll go to deaths, equals, do the same thing. Go into the pivot table sheet, and then click in the cell, yeah? Now if this list grows, this formula's got it covered, yeah? Recovered, equals, go into the cell in the piv sheet, click, yeah? And effectively the active cases is also in the sheet, but it's a formula. Equals, go into the piv sheet, and then the active cases is in 0192. It was the first formula that we put together, which is basically the active less the deaths less the recovered. Yeah? Or I meant to say the confirmed less the deaths less the recovered. But yeah, there you go. So we've got a starting point for the information that goes by country. And we're going to put those in here, 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 and here. All right, so put your cursor in cell B9 and we'll go equals, and then go into the rank sheet, and then I've got this sort of ordered, so the 4 tables are just not neatly placed here. So basically it's all the pivot table information. So we'll click rank B2, and then we'll copy that across. We get the data coming across, and let's just copy that data and then go to the very bottom cell, yeah, and paste that data, yeah. So that's come through nicely, and then let's do exactly the same thing for the deaths. Equals, go into the rank sheet, click into cell E2, press enter, and then drag that across, and then copy, and then drag it down. Paste. Now I think once we've got it copied, I think we can copy the data. There's only one column in between here. I think we can do that. Yep. And yep, that looks all right. Okay, so yep, that's the data that represent. We can double check it. So we go into the rank sheet and we go 1200, 71, 189, and 1.2. So, oh yeah, so basically 71, 1200, 1.2, 71, 189, and there's 1.2. No, active doesn't look right, so I'll just go in and fix it. I'll make it so you don't have to though, so you won't get a file that looks like this, but this is how easy it is to move the data. So I'll go into the ranking sheet, and then I'll go into the cell that's got this data, and it needs to look at column O, and then that looks a lot better. I'll send that down to the bottom, and then that informs the data, and then effectively you should get equals that minus that, which should equal, if I make that white, same number, 2206, 2206, yeah, and then you could do the same for the next cell, yeah, it's the 1.2 less the 71 less the 189 gives you the 943. That looks good. All right, good stuff. So yeah, I'll make it so you don't have to go through that sort of piece of information. Good idea to check the information as you're going, because those sort of things pop up, yeah. All right, okay, so now we've got that data. So what we might do is we might unveil what's actually happening under the hood. So basically in this cell up here, so in cell B2, you can see I've got Austria sort of isolated. And if I was to change that to US, yeah, the information changes ever so slightly, yeah. So what we want to do is so that's feeding the line chart, so Austria in there. If that changes to US, like because it's just 2 characters, US, then in the line chart, US changes, and then all of our charts change, yeah? So all of this information is US based, yeah? So what we want to do is we want to effectively make that cell the one cell to rule them all. So when it changes, everything on the model changes. So what we'll do is we'll create sort of some conditional formatting. So we'll isolate these cells, yeah? And we'll say on the home menu, we'll choose conditional formatting, and we'll choose a new rule. And then we'll say we'll use a formula to determine which cells to format. Okay, so we'll just now conditional formatting tests the true condition. So we'll just say equals, and then I want to click, I can't get to B1 because of my, oh yeah, I can get to B2. We'll click in B2, so click in B1 and then just go down one. And then say where that is equal to the cell in B9, and then press F4 a couple of times, so twice, so it says $B9. Make sure that B2 is absolute and the column in B9 is absolute, yeah? And then we'll choose the format, and then that's just a matter of saying, okay, I want the font to be white and I want the fill to be blue, and then click OK. Then OK again. And see what that does. US is highlighted. If I was to take United Kingdom and then I was to make it UK in B2, so I've got in B2, paste UK. I should have pasted the values, Control Z. So I can't really get to it. So it looks like, oh, I better make sure I do. So basically, I can always get there with shortcut keys. Control Alt V, V for values, and then OK. And now UK is the item of choice, yeah? If you want, just remove the logo or move it out of the road, yeah? All right, so that's all working, that's all tickety-boo, and we want to replicate that. So we basically just go in here and we'll do the same thing and make these guys red, and then we'll keep the same theme going through the model. So we'll go Insert, and then Home I meant to say, and then Conditional Formatting, and we'll choose a new rule. Use a formula, and we'll say equals, where B, I'd prefer to click in there actually because it makes it absolute. So C1 down to B2, where that is equal to the cell just there, yeah, being S9, and then I'll press F4 3 times. All right, so now I'll choose my format, choose the red font, make that white. Now, this is sort of far more in line with what I want in terms of the location to these guys. So I can use this formatting and change it ever so slightly for the other ones, yeah? So it should say $S9. All right, good stuff. So we'll click OK. All right, that seems to have worked. UK is not here, so we won't see whether this works, but let's copy all of that. Copy, and then right click, and then we'll paste special formats. Formats, this one, and then click OK. Now the formatting is wrong, so we'll go in to the home menu and we'll choose conditional formatting. It just means we don't have to stuff around too much with it, and we'll choose to manage the rules. And then double click, and then it says S9, and then STUV. That's got to be V. V9. So change S9 to V9, change the formats. Actually, to be honest, it's probably easier just to do it from scratch. We might do the next one from scratch. So we'll change that to green, and then we'll click OK, and then OK again, and OK. So if you go down, we should be able to see that the UK, where is the UK? There it is. I had to go down a bit further to find it. All right, so we might do the last one from scratch. Yeah, it's not easier. So we'll go home. So highlight these cells, go to the home menu, conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula, click inside the formula bar, and where B2 is equal to, and click into the cell Y9, make Y absolute, so press F4 twice. All good. Choose a format. I'll choose a white. No, this is the orange color, and then the font becomes white. All right, good stuff. Click OK. OK again. There we go. UK nicely coming through in that area. So I think the next thing that we might do is might bring the map in. So if we go onto the mapping sheet, I'll show you the sort of the process that I went through to get the map populated. So we'll go into the map sheet, and you can see I've got a sandpit here. So basically this is where I did my workings. Here's the countries that run down the side. And basically if one of these countries is the selected country, the big ball comes over the top. So I've just got some formula that actually makes that larger than the other ones. So this is a bubble chart. And look, I just put Brazil in here just to give you an idea of the painstaking task I went through. There are other ways to do this, yeah? No doubt about it, but I wanted this to look like the Johns Hopkins, and I knew that I was going to have to create something. If I wanted it to look exactly the same, I was going to have to go through this sort of painful process. So there's only about 50 countries mapped, yeah? There's about 135 that aren't. So if you have a look at this dot here, I'll try and make it as large as possible. So this one here. So if I was to change the longitude from 108 to 109, yeah? So long, it's going to move laterally, yeah? So if I press enter, watch what happens to this dot. There's one over here because there's two Brazils. Brazil's trapped a little bit further down. So you see it moved along like that. And if I wanted to move it up or down, if I changed 31, actually 30.5, let's just change that to 30, yeah? Or 31. So we press enter and the dot moves down. I know you can't probably see that too well, but it moved down. So if I change that to say 33, don't make a typo, and it moved it down a lot further, yeah? So I'll press Control Z. If I wanted it to move up, like maybe 30, enter. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. So you get the idea. It's a painstaking sort of task where you're actually moving the dots around, yeah? You get quite good at it after you've done a few, but I did all of these and I was over it when I got to about 50, yeah? As I said, there are other ways I probably could have done it, like, but I wouldn't have got the Johns Hopkins look and feel, yeah? So I basically just overlaid the bubble chart on top of the map, yeah? And I made the map basically the same size, yeah? So what we're going to do is, rather than go through the process, we're going to just copy the map. And then we're going to paste it in here. Yeah. Now, what I usually did when I was creating it is I use UK's. Oh, geez, don't mess with the sort of shape of it. So usually try and grab the bottom line, and then just grab sort of New Zealand. I look at New Zealand because Australia's too big. New Zealand, and just make sure the dot's kind of in the North Island. Yeah, and that roughly means everything else pretty much goes where it's supposed to. Yeah. That looks about right, yeah? All right, so close enough. Anyway, so now if we change the focus back from the UK to say, if I just paste the values, Control Alt V for Victor, V for values, enter, you'll see the dot then drops from UK over to the US, yeah? So that's now like a big piece of the pie sort of sorted. You can go through the mapping function and sort of, knock yourself out, but you saw the sort of reasonably painful process it was to create just a single dot. It's trial and error until you get really familiar with the dot moving acrosswards, upwards and downwards, yeah? And to be honest, I don't think there's many practical functions for this chart, so I don't reckon it's real great to get under your belt, because there's just not that many practical situations where you're going to find yourself mapping dots on a chart. All right. So I think we might make these bar charts through here. Now these are reasonably involved. I'll make one. You can then pause the video and make the second and third one, because it's a replication of the task, and you'll see that it's actually reasonably in depth, yeah? So go on to the bar tab, yeah? The bar tab. All right, so what we want to do is we want to create a stacked bar, yeah? So basically highlight these guys, yeah? So first one here. Now this will be the data set for the first chart. So highlight these guys and we'll choose to insert, and then go to the insert menu, and then we'll choose this one, yeah? So it's stacked bar. We've got 3 of the elements just right in there. Nice. Might make this a little larger so you can follow it. I'll make it a bit bigger, and I'll have it down here so we can see our data set, yeah? Actually, I can go right over the top of my dummy data set, because that's for my sandbox, which is down here. All right, so I'm going to take these lines out. I'm going to take the chart title out, buys a bit of real estate. Now, just click inside the chart like that, yeah? And on the format menu, actually for this charting, I might open the menu up so it's all there. And then I'll bring this up a little bit. Actually, might make the chart a little smaller. Okay, good stuff. So I'll work down here so we can always see the data that we're working with, yeah? So we click on the data set, and then on the design menu, we're going to switch row column. Bang. All right, so it turns it into one data set, yeah? Now, remember, control 1 is our friend. So click on the series. Click on the series, control 1. Oop. And then this 150, we want to change that to 30. What that does is it just makes the series really nice and tight. And then if we click over the top of the data set, we should be able to put, if I click on the series, no, I haven't done that correctly, so I'll start that part again. So I click on the series inside here, and see how it says 300, change that to 30, yeah? All right, good stuff. So that's a lot better. So basically, the width of this one was quite large, and that's the area I was trying to click on, but I hadn't done it properly. All right, so basically now we want to press Control 1, and then I want to say that I want the border to be a solid line, and I'll make it like that. Yeah, so that gives us a border around the outside. I don't need these at the bottom, so the horizontal axes can go. Delete, and we're left with a very raw data set. This is what I do with pretty much all of my data sets when I'm building my charts. I basically rip all the information out and start from scratch, yeah? Now, I'll just pause for a moment and sort of give some kudos to a friend of mine. Now, this has come from, the baseline has come from Clearly and Simply's website, yeah? So I've basically taken it and manipulated it for my purposes. So I've added different information, but it wouldn't be possible if I hadn't grabbed the raw table from Clearly and Simply's site. Robert Mundigal runs the site out of Germany, and clearly is a savant. He really understands the visual nature of management reporting, and he has created some fantastic content. So do yourself a favor, get on to Clearly and Simply and just fill your boots. And thanks again, Robert, you are a star. All right, okay, so we'll continue on with the raw data and we'll push the information into the chart. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more complex because we have to overlay this particular stacked bar chart with a scatter chart with straight lines, but not just one, four of them. Okay, all right, so basically sort of hold on to your boots and we'll go through it step by step. So basically what we'll do to add new data is we'll just go right click and then select data, and then we'll choose to add. Right click, select data, add. Now we want to get our first series, and this is going to be our confirmed. So we'll click on confirmed. We'll just leave it at 1. Yeah, we're just going to use and abuse the data that's already there. So we click OK, and that does a wonderful thing. So we click OK again, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to assign that confirmed to a scatter with straight lines, and then every additional chart that gets pushed in will be a scatter with straight lines because we need 3 additional on top of the confirmed. Yeah, so we'll right click the chart and we'll say change series chart type, and then we'll go down and instead of a bar chart we'll choose this purple one, and instead of a bar chart we'll choose this one. So it's in the scatter area, and it's, if you hover over it, it should say scatter with straight lines. That's the one we want, yeah? So the 5th one along. All right, good stuff. Okay, awesome. So that has the effect of now every chart that I add will be a scatter with straight lines, yeah? So we right click, select data, and then we want to add new series, yeah? And then this one is going to be our center gap, yeah? So we'll choose gap center, and then we'll choose the range that it's associated with, yeah? So it becomes C18 for the X series, and get rid of the 1 for the Y, and then it's D18 for the Y, yeah? That's the second part of the equation, all done, all dusted. So we click OK, we'll add a new series, so go through, add another series. And then this is going to be our scale target. So this one just here, yeah. And then the X values are going to be the C15 to D15, yeah, nice. And then take that away, and then we'll reuse these ones because we use them for the confirmed, yeah, the 0 and the 1, yeah. All right, so we click OK, and that's that one done. And then finally, we want the exceedance from center. So it's in line 21. So we'll add a new one. This is the final one we have to add. We'll call it exceedance center, so B21 goes in there. And then we just isolate the information that we need. So we need C21, good job, and we also need D21, yeah? So that's our raw data for the charting purposes. Now this is a bit off, but that's all right, we can fix that. So we'll click OK. The chart's already looking a lot better, yeah? So what we want is to fiddle with these guys. So we'll highlight these guys here, Control 1, and then we want the maximum to not be 1.2, but 1. And watch what that does to this line. Bang, nice, good job. We don't need these guys, so we'll click on them, and we'll choose Delete. We don't need this guy over here. Click on it, delete. All right, nice. Orange is a bit rich, so we'll click on the orange line, Control 1, and then when this guy pops up, we'll choose Isma Road, yeah? So that can be our actual. And then what we want to do from here, I might change the color sort of last that kicks around here, is I want to sort of cycle through the points in, or the data series inside of the chart. So in order to do that, oh dear, didn't mean that. All right, in order to do that, I can either try and hit it. It's right in the middle there, yeah? You can either try and hit it, it's bang, right there, or click in there and just go tab, 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 tab. Oh, it's just tabbing on the thing. So basically click in the middle until you get the 7th one, yeah? I usually could do it, so it's killing me softly. There we go. That, look, yeah, if you click in this blue area, tab, 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 there you go. I didn't go far enough down. So anyway, so once we get into this one here, once we get the middle area sort of selected, what we want to do is we want to go to the design menu and we want to add a chart element. And what we want to do is add this percentage error bar, yeah, that one just there, yeah. So choose error bars and then %. All right, good stuff. Now we click on it and I want to manipulate it. So basically we'll press Control 1 and then I want to choose custom here and no cap here. Probably no cap first, then custom. And then we want to choose this specify value. And the specify value is basically the first error point becomes this value here, the exceedance error bar. It's basically halfway. And the second one is the same value. So B22 and then B22 again. Or C22 and C22 again, sorry. Once they've been selected, C22 for both, we click OK. And what it does is it basically sorts that out. So it's basically a line all the way from start to finish. So the next thing that we'll do is we'll click on the line, yeah, click on that line and then press Control 1, yeah. I want to choose this fill in line and I want to choose an arrow and that puts an arrow at either end, yeah. Now I'm going to make, this green's terrible color, so I'm going to make this particular arrow, I'm going to make it white, yeah. Now don't worry about the thing in the middle. I'm going to put a label over the top of that, yeah. So that's effectively what we want, yeah, with the exception of a few labels, yeah. It doesn't look crash hot right now, but we're going to add some labels. So firstly, I'm going to click in this area, right click, add data labels, and then click on the data labels, and then I'm going to say Control 1 if it doesn't pop up, inside base, yeah. So I push that all the way through to the end. And then on the home menu, I might just make it a little larger, 10 point, and then I'll make it white so it stands out. And this is what happened prior, yeah? So this is 7 days ago, yeah? And then over here, what I want to do is I want to highlight this guy, and I might make this sort of a deeper grey colour, yeah? And then from here, what I'll do is I'll add a data label, all right, goes right over the top, yeah? So I'll click on that data label, and then I'll format it. So this is already up. If it's not up, Control 1. So I'll highlight this, and then solid fill, and I'll choose, yep, that color, that's perfect. That splits it nicely in half, and I'll just make the color white. Now what I want this to be is the percentage difference of what this equals, and that's already calculated up here. So I click on this guy here, and then go up into the formula bar and say equals, and then just point to the 16%, yeah? So there's been a 16% over the course of a week or 10 days or whatever we put as the metric, yeah? All right, good stuff. So that pulls the 16% in, that's all good. Now I want something above the chart to represent the value here. So we'll right click, we'll add data labels. Now don't be too concerned about the 1, 0 that it's produced. You click on that and you press Control 1. And then choose X value first, get rid of the Y value, and then come into the chart. That's the right number. So 1.2, delete, and then just going to format this so it's like a little smaller. And then this guy, if I Control 1 and make him above, he sits above. Yeah, nice. All right, good stuff. So that's basically saying that 7 days ago there was 1.04. 7 days later there's 1.2 million. This is confirmed. And then that's a 16% change, yeah? So effectively, what we want to do is we want to make this sort of a nice sort of size so it can fit. And this might be a bit of an issue. You've got to use this as your template. And so now we're getting to the sort of size. So you just remodel the size so it's all nicely in order. That's got to be above so it stays out of the road. That's all good. That's better. Nice. Okay, good stuff. Now what I usually do is I'll need to make this transparent. So Control 1, fill, no fill. Border, no line. Now it's just a transparent chart. And what I would like you to do is go into the dashboard page, copy it, go into the dashboard page, paste it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make it about the right size, yeah? So we'll go in here, that's too big, and that's not white enough, so we'll make that white, and then make it roughly fit that area. That's about right, yeah? That's about right. So that's our template, yeah? So take that back into the bar chart area, drop it in there. You can make the background a bit darker if you want to see what's going on, like this, and then just make the background dark. Welcome to the world of sort of charting development. And then now that that's your template, you want to replicate the process for deaths and recovered. So pause the video, make 2 more charts. I don't want to show you how to do it sort of 3 times, yeah? That's just a waste of our time. Go and make 2 more, and then restart the video, and we'll have all 3. Oh, before you go, I forgot to do one thing, yeah? Right-click the chart, select data. I forgot to redo the confirmed. I used and abused it, remember? So edit, and then confirm's fine, and then it's basically this data here, and finally this data here. Yeah, I referenced it. Oh, I always do that. I forget to delete the one in curly brackets. So it's C13 to D13, and then C14 to D14. Click OK. Yeah, and OK again. It shouldn't stuff the chart up, but it's needed for, there we go, for scale. Yeah, so that's a lot better. I apologise about that. I rushed ahead, but that's all good. So when I went to create the second chart, I noticed, I was like, oh, hang on. All right, good stuff. So create 3 charts based on this data set and this data set. Everything has to be moved. and then you will have 3 specific charts. Alrighty, so the magic of video, I've got my charts all sorted. So I want you to take those charts. Once you're done, it's basically one's looking at confirmed, the next looking at deaths, and the other's looking at recovered. Once you've got them, copy them, bring them into the dashboard page, paste them somewhere, and then just drag them down. Now, with any luck, mine will fit nicely. Yours, it might be a little fiddly here to get them all in the right place. I kind of spaced it out and I've hit the jackpot here. And when you put them in, don't have them going in staggered, just get them like the size and shape you want. And then on the insert or page layout menu, go page layout and then align left. Yeah. All right, so that's good. So the dashboard's starting to come together nicely. What we want to do now, oh, I don't like that. That's not good. I'll just move that up a bit. Good stuff. Yep, that's much better. I'll move this one up a bit as well. You can see I'm fairly pedantic about the way things look and feel. I like alignment, and I'm pretty particular about how it looks at the final product stage. Right, okay, so we'll move on and grab this chart. This is probably the most basic chart we'll do. It is in the calc sheet. So we'll go into the calc sheet, and we're going to basically just map these pieces here. So if you isolate the information for these guys, and we'll go insert, and we just want to insert one of these guys, a donut chart. So we'll insert a donut chart. So highlight the area, go on the insert menu, chart, that one, yeah. Now what I do is I strip it clean and start again. So I take the chart title out, gone. The information at the bottom, gone. It's already on the dashboard already, yeah. And then what I do from there is active. Now we want to stick with the color scheme that we've already got chosen. So basically I'll click over here and I'll do a bit of maintenance first. So I'm going to make the size of this hole smaller. Control 1. And then 75, no, I'll just fiddle around. I'll play with 55, yeah, so I've made this hole smaller. Now I click on the blue area a couple of times. These are just the default colors, and I want to use this menu to go, okay, orange, maybe I may use that one. It's a bit lighter. And then, what's that? That 16% death, so that's got to be red. Notice I'm keeping the same color scheme throughout, yeah? Just keep repeating the same color scheme. So when you're doing your dashboards, do the same thing. And then the last one is going to be that green, yeah? So this isn't going to be this big. This actually doesn't look crash hot, but once you make it a sort of a much smaller chart, Control 1, I'm going to get rid of the fill and I'm going to get rid of the line, yeah, so it's just transparent. And now all the percentages that relate to this chart are on the other sheet, yeah. Now let's copy it and then go into the dashboard page, Control Z because I made a mistake, and then we'll go out here and it's going to fit in there, yeah. And then we can make it bigger. Now those white borders I dislike profusely, so we want to get rid of those. So basically just make it fit nicely like that, and then click on series, Control 1. I couldn't see it in the other sheet, so I'll just say border, no line, and then that's made it much less offensive, yeah. And you can see the percentages at the bottom. I've preset this up. It's kind of, all I'm doing is creating a text box pointing to the cell that actually holds the data in the calc sheet, which is the data that this is based on. So these will always reconcile, yeah? All right, good stuff. So we're moving right along. I might digress a little bit, and we'll just do something I probably should have done earlier. So we'll just isolate this data and we'll put some data bars in there, yeah? So we'll choose from the home menu, conditional formatting, and we'll just add some data bars, yeah? Pick the ones that sort of most suit. Now, notice I'm keeping the same sort of color scheme throughout. So that one kind of works with my color scheme. See, this one doesn't, yeah? So I know it might be a new concept, but we just want to keep things, you know, ideally the same. So same color, same color, same color, repeat, 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 repeat. And it's very easy for people picking up your dashboards then to look at it and go, ah, okay, I don't have to think between this chart, this chart, this chart, this chart, or this chart. It's all going to be the same, yeah? All right, that's all good. So we're getting there. We really are getting there. So we've got one more chart to go. We'll add a little bit of bells and whistles, and we should be done, peeps. We're almost there. Okay. Alrighty. So let's go and make the final chart. So in order to do that, we go onto the gauge chart sheet. Now, this is a bit like the first chart that we made. This is not that straightforward, yeah? But just bear with me, go through the steps and you'll get to the end, yeah? I've already set up the calcs table. Now, what we want to do is we'll set up the easy part first. So we want to create a donut chart. So we just isolate the donut information and we'll go insert and we'll insert a donut chart, yeah? Now, we want to clean it up. The donut can go at the top, the heading. So click on every element that you want to delete. So basically the series at the bottom, click delete. And then I'll make the background transparent, Control 1. So click on the outside, Control 1, fill, no fill. Border, no line. Good job. All right, now what we want to do is we want to turn it on its side. So we click on the series and then we choose Control 1. Yeah, so that refreshes it. Now the number that we want here is 270, yeah? I've done enough of these. I know it. Yeah, okay, so now we click on this guy and then we want to go to the home menu. I usually use this one rather than this one over here. So I want to say no fill, yeah? And now I want to click on the first one here and then I'll basically get my menu down, yeah? Now, what I want to do is I want to create a color scheme. So I'll start with the deepest maroon and then now I should be able to press tab and then go up. Yeah, cool. And then I'll choose the next and then tab and then the next and then that'll do 3 at that side. And then we're going to make the orange ones go through the middle. Orange, orange. Notice I'm pressing tab and I'm moving. And now I'll choose my blues. So I'll choose a light blue and then tab and then I'll choose another light blue and then I'll choose a darker blue. Yep, cool. All right, so that's basically the back part of the gauge. Now, the front part of the gauge, the calculations are made here. So we'll choose the X and the Y, and then we'll go insert, yeah? I get the feeling people are probably coloring this, yeah? So just maybe pause the video and just finish the coloring part. And then we want to go insert, and then we want to insert with these guys highlighted, this one, just the scatter chart. Cool. All right, good stuff. Now you can see the basic outline. Now just clean this one up. So just take everything out. So basically the vertical, the horizontal axes, and all these lines. Yeah. And that's all good. We'll get rid of the heading. Gone. Now, that's bought us a bit of real estate. Now, what I usually do when I'm doing these is click on this one and I want to see the line, yeah? So this is basically the outline and that's all good. Right, so that's that part of the equation. Now we want to go into this chart and we want to add the needle. So this is basically the outline and then we'll add the needle. So we right click, we select the data and then we go add and then the needle symbol is up there. So you could write needle, but it's better to point to the cells. The X values are here and the Y values are here. All right, good job. All right, so what we get is the needle. Good job. So we'll click OK and OK again. Now, I wasn't expecting them to have the bobbles at the end, so we'll go to, they're probably markers, so let's just go none. Good job, perfect. Okay, that's got rid of it. That's the way I want it to look anyway. All right, good stuff. So basically, if they appeared, I might have done that a bit quick, Control 1, and then just go marker, and then none, yeah? Now, what we want to do is we want to affect this line so it actually looks like it's pointing somewhere. So we'll go into fill in line. So you click on the line, Control 1, fill in line, and then we go down here and we'll say, can you have an arrow at the end? So let's put an arrow at the end, and then we'll change the size from 1.5 to 2.5. Yeah. All right, good stuff. That's all good. Now, what color was it? I think it was white. Yeah. So what we might do is we might make this our sandpit area. Yeah. So we'll kind of replicate what's going to happen in the dashboard. So we'll make this all black. Just make the background all black. That's good. Close enough. Yeah. Now, I want to. What do I want to do? I want to take the background off. So fill, no fill, line, no line. Yeah. So now we've got a situation. Oh, that's interesting. So this is good. These have got lines around the outside. That's not going to work when we get in this environment. So it's a good idea to sort of sandbox what's going to look like. So I click on the series inside here, and then go fill and line, and I'll go border, no line. Yeah, and then that cleans that up. Yep. Now we've just got these two pieces to sort of join together. Yeah. All right, good stuff. So basically, I'm going to want to. Here's the awkward part. I'm going to want to take this guy, and we've got to get this just right. So we'll take this guy into the dashboard page. Yeah. This will save you a lot of time because this can be fiddly. And then he's got to fit in there. So he can be the sort of dictator of how big the chart's got to be. Yeah, that's still too big. So use this as a bit of a template. Yeah, this is a bit fiddly, but it's worthwhile when you get to the end. Yeah, so that's about right. Yeah, you can see if we'd gone and made it and then not come in here and done that, it would have cost us a fair bit of time. Yeah, so we'll copy that. I'll cut it, and then I'll go back into my gauge sheet. And then I'll drop this guy in, he can go, and then that can be our template. And we know if we get this guy inside there, we're all tickety-boo. Now it doesn't look crash hot at the moment, but we'll just bring it up here, and we'll make it a bit smaller. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. That's not bad. What I'm trying to do is get that dot over the 50 and then all these other dots over where the 10s are. And then that means everything will be perfectly in alignment. Yeah, that's not too bad, you know. That's for 70 and this is 72. That's about right. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to make this guy white. Actually, what I'll do is I'm going to send this to the back. So I'll click on the donut chart, right click, I'm going to send to back. Now it brings this guy to the front. Actually, I wouldn't mind it if it stayed inside. So I'm going to try and get this chart. I'm going to try and bring it inside just so the arrow falls within the bounds. Come on. Still at 50, roughly at 10. Oh, that one's come slightly off. I'd prefer to be right than it to look beautiful. That's a bit better. That one's slightly up, but very few stings are going to be there. Oh, you can see it's fiddly, yeah? You can see that it's fiddly. Yeah, that's about right. Oh, it's still just outside. What if I go brutally like that? And then brutally like that? Oh, 72, and I'll move it that way so the 50 comes over. Not bad. Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. Look, you could probably get it a bit better, but for the sake of speed, that's close enough. It might be like half a degree out, but it's close enough. All right, so I'm going to make this guy white. So I click on him, Control 1, and then I'll change the color. So I'll choose it. Maroon's not good, white's great. All right, that stands out in our black background, and this probably could be a bit blacker in line with what's going to happen in the model. We go. Now all I've got to do is get rid of this line. So I click on the line and I go no line and then marker, none. But now I'm left with this part here. Yeah, so I've got to sort of come up with a little solution for the the starting point. So let's create a shape. So what we want to do is we want to insert a shape. Yeah, so I'll just insert a little circle like that. And then I don't like them to have an outline, so I'll say shape outline, no outline. And then I want the fill to be white. All right, so I've got it white, I've got it around about the right size, it's about that size, so just insert shape and get it to this size, copy it, and then nail it right in there. See, one click will get you all the data points. 2 clicks gets you just the one you want. Control V gets you exactly what you want. Okay, now that is our chart, which is our closed cases, yeah? And I've got the equation inside the chart for what that is made up of. So copy, go into the dashboard sheet, and then drop your bomb, yeah? Drop it right there, perfect. And you can see the value of actually going through at the start and making sure it's all tickety-boo, yeah? We made sure it was like the right size, so we didn't have to go and redo it, yeah? And you could see it was close enough. It's close enough, and we've got the value there if anyone sort of disputes it. All right, so let's have a look at what this looks like at full size, yeah? Okay, all right, so it genuinely is coming together. We've got a really nice sort of look and feel in like under an hour and a half. Couple of things left to do, like just bells and whistles style things, but once we do those, we'll be done. Okay, so what we might do now is we might concentrate on letting cell B2 change, yeah? So you see it says US. I was changing it manually, so what we want is to have that change automatically, yeah? So we're going to create a custom function, yeah? And then once we've created the custom function, we'll have to put some formula in these 2 cells, or this column and this column, and then we'll concentrate on getting the model to update almost automatically, or at the press of this button, yeah? So we'll go into the back end of Excel. This is a very, very simple piece of code. So just copy exactly what I do, press Alt F11, and then go to this sheet called Module Color. See over here, I'm clicking over here. And then what we'll do, once you're in here, Module Color, so just make sure it's blank and it's highlighted like that. It should say Module Color at the top as well. We'll just go Insert, and then it wasn't available, so just choose Procedure. When I clicked on it, it was all grayed out. I was like, oh, why? So Procedure, and then we'll choose Function, yeah? And then we want to call this function Nation, N-A-T-I-O-N, yeah? And then we'll click OK. So we'll make sure this is clicked, Function, and it creates all the words for us, yeah? So function, nation, all good. Now between these 2 brackets, we want to put RNG as a range, yeah? And then it gets very simple after this point. We just refer to B2 with a square bracket, B2, close square bracket, is equal to RNG. Welcome to the world of custom functions. That's a custom function, yeah? So basically what we're saying is that B2 is going to be whatever what range is, and then we're going to capture range in a hyperlink formula, yeah? So that's it. So we've got a formula called Nation, Alt F11 to get back into Excel. And then what I usually do after I've written a public function is I just go NAT and I see it there, yeah? I want to make sure that Excel recognizes my custom function. It's just like an if or anything like that. Now, we want to put our cursor over here once we've got that one in, and then we want to create this formula, yeah? We want to say if error, equals if error, equals if error, and then open a bracket, and then it's hyperlink, HY tab, yeah? And now we want to hook straight into our nation. So type in nation, yeah, and it opens the bracket for us. It's an open bracket. And we want to sort of reference the rank sheet that we were looking at before. So go into the rank sheet, and the data's stored in the same sort of format. So we'll click into B2, rank B2, close our bracket, comma, rank B2, close our bracket, comma, rank B2. That's it. That is our hyperlink formula. The if error part is to trap the error that the hyperlink will produce if the US is not the chosen country. Yeah, if we don't hover over the US, it won't be the chosen one, so it would produce an error. That gets around it. So it's basically just repeating, just pointing to that cell that's got the US in it 3 times. Yeah, and that will score us the result we want. So we paste that there, and then basically we want to copy that guy all the way down to the last cell. Yeah, and then we'll go over and test to see if the rubber hits the road. So we go over, and then we start hovering over these cells, and you'll see the dashboard start to come to life. Yeah, that's what I showed you at the very start of this tutorial with the model that was completed. Congratulations, you've gone through and completed about 98% by now. There's a couple of very important things that we have to do in order to get it to work, yeah, to update and pull the data from the web, yeah. So what we want to do is we want to go into the pivot table sheet. Now there is a named table, yeah. Now I haven't been able to name the table because we made these fresh, yeah. So I need you to do that. So under the design menu, actually analyze menu, this one, doesn't matter what it's called, table 1, table 2, whatever. This needs to be called the same name as this, so confirmed, yeah? So we'll call this confirmed. Now the reason for having a table named is what happens is in the code I'm going to refresh one pivot table. Now you saw all 7 pivot tables came from the same cache. So refreshing one actually refreshes all, yeah? So with confirmed in there, now we want to go into the dashboard sheet, and then we want to right click on the dashboard update, or right click on this button, and we want to choose assign macro, and then we choose update. All right, so choose update and click OK. All right, so that's given us the capacity to pull in new information. So now you're free to test the veracity of the model. So click the update button, and once it stops spinning, it stopped because we can click in a cell. That's how long it took to go and get the data. Go into the raw sheet, remove some of the data, yeah? Remove some of the data, so it's gone. So we go into the dashboard sheet, click the update sheet, the thing spins, spin, 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 round, 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 it's stopped. Go into the raw sheet, it's back, the data's back. So it's refreshed the data, and we've managed to pull it in. And we can now have a look at the data set, and we can change the date. So we might change it from the 2nd to the 3rd of May, and it repopulates the information. Everything gets all tickety-boo. We're able to spin, move, change the model. We can highlight any country inside the model using the confirmed table, and everything updates as we would wish it to. So there you have it. So that's basically updating the model. Like, I've just been looking at it like the past, well, while we've been putting it together. I can see some improvements. Like I've got the days in this particular bar chart set at 14. The charts say 7. You can change that to N, or you can make it interactive in the same way that this is. Now, there's some code that sits behind the model that I haven't gone into. There's not a great deal. It's not very difficult, but I just figured if I was to actually include that, it would just take even longer to explain the model. I might make a second one. Depends how popular this particular presentation is. If it's not, there's not really a great deal of value in it. Ask me any questions you want in the comments. I will be happy to answer them. Since I made the thing from scratch, I can basically answer anything relating to this model. Yeah, a few things that I might want to sort of expand upon, so it might save you sort of digging them out. If you go onto the list sheet and you change the days, let's say it said 10 days there, it'll flow through to the model, so it says 10 days in there. As I said, just make this a bit more dynamic so that 777 becomes 10, 10, 10. I hadn't done that yet. And then when you update the model, it will push the information into, actually it's here that we want to sort of update. Let's say we say, okay, we want the data from 4 May. And then it will push the new data in, but 10 days back from 4 May in Piv2 sheet is the 24th of April, 24th of April, 24th of April. Yeah, and if you wanted to change that, you go into the list sheet and you go, okay, no, we only want to see 7. So you say, okay, we'll have 7 days. You go into the dashboard page and you go, okay, yeah, all right, we'll just recast this. So rerun it, say I'll run it for the 4th again, and you'll see those dates. It'll change from the 27th, or whatever date it was, whatever I just said, from the 24th to the 27th, yeah? So it's got a lot of dynamism in it. Yeah, as I said, I'll run a part 2 if it gets some traction. I run a website obviously called thesmallman.com. It's the most hit-on dashboard page on the planet right now. It has been for a long time. I've got an enormous amount of dashboards for download. I've got some premium dashboards that are every bit as good as this. This is not the best dashboard I've ever created. It's a website that focuses on the visual presentation of data and Visual Basic for applications, yeah, which is my background. You can read more about me. Like and subscribe for more content just like this, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and ask me any questions you wish, and have a fantastic day. All right, everyone, take care.